Stuart, Arsenal in your eyes, favourites for the title. Are they still favourites for the title?
Yes, I would say so. I think there's been a slight swing towards Manchester City, and a lot of people would make Manchester City favourites, full stop. I think Arsenal's big game is going to be, yes, I understand the Man City game, Newcastle away. I think that is going to be a monstrous game for Arsenal. But with City being involved in Champions League and being involved in the FA Cup, by the time the Man City-Arsenal game comes about, Arsenal could extend that points gap.
Yeah.
And that could be very interesting. It puts more and more pressure on City.
You look at City, though, Simon, 8 wins on the spin now, 31 goals scored, 3 conceded. I mean, are they cranking up a notch just when they need to?
Well, they're doing what Manchester City do, which is get into a groove and then turn the screw. And when you're beating Team 7 in the Champions League, you're beating Burnley coming out of the Championship 6-0 in an FA Cup game, you're beating Liverpool 4, you're beating Southampton 4. I don't think a Manchester City side that were 2-0 up against Liverpool, irrespective of the Anfield effect, would have lost that, would have not continued to win that game and held on the way Arsenal did. I've always maintained that it goes to the Etihad. And on that game, if Arsenal come away with anything other than a defeat, I think they'll win the league. But I think the groove that City are in, I think they'll win their game in hand, which is Brighton. It's a tough game for them, but they'll win it in hand. And if they go to the Etihad and they beat Arsenal, they'll be top of the league. And once Man City hit the top of the league,
that's it.
Then I don't think they tend to look back.
They won't be moved. Stuart, I know you're a big Jordan Pickford fan. Have you become a big Aaron Ramsdale fan?
Well, he pulled off some wonderful saves, I've got to say. And that point, I personally think it's a really good point for Arsenal, personally. When it went to 2-2, I thought, you know what, take the point, move on from there and tell your squad what a brilliant point it was. First off, they absolutely dominated Liverpool. I think Xhaka got involved in stupidity, which stoked up Liverpool, which he shouldn't have done. And from then on, Liverpool come into it, and listen, they've got a good record at home, Liverpool. I think it's a brilliant point.
You've played there and you've managed there at Anfield. Yesterday, Neville and Keane were going on about it. What is it about this place? I mean, does it exist, this mystique around Anfield?
They've got good home support, end of. And I think they've got good home support through thick and thin. And what I say by that, Salah missed a penalty and they sung his name straight afterwards. That's quite powerful, you know. Yes,
yeah. And Clough always said to you at Liverpool, don't buy into what they're trying to do to you.
No, and don't drink the tea. They put something in it.
So, what did we witness at half-time? Did we really witness a linesman, Konstantin Hatzidakis, a fellow who I've met actually? Did we witness him elbow Andy Robertson? So what are the PGMOL going to do about this in the FA? Can they afford for double standard, Stuart, after going in hard on Mitrovic with an 8-game suspension? Now, you have a strong view in this, and I want you to air it for us, as honestly as you did out there.
This is how I look at it. There's two ways of viewing this incident. You could hang him out to dry and say, well, we're going to compare that incident with Mitrovic or another incident where a referee's been pushed. We're going to compare it and hang you out to dry. For me, what message does that send out to footballers? It means they're indispensable and we're not, I think. And the other side of that is a player's made his way over to the linesman at half time to instigate a situation. I think you've got to bear in mind what's happened for the 45 minutes before, because Robertson is playing right next to the linesman.
Is that liner on Robertson's side?
Yes.
That's what I was going to ask.
So he's made a beeline for him because of certain incidents or decisions that he wasn't happy with. I don't know what Andy Robertson said to the official. What I would say as well, I'd look at it like this. If you're ever thinking about hanging him out to dry and ruining his career, okay, if the powers that be, think about this then. If that incident happened between two players on a football pitch, would there be a sending off and a red card there? I think not. Unless Robertson threw himself to the ground and play acted and the referee didn't see it. I don't think it's a sending off offence if it was two players on a pitch. So why should you treat a linesman? I think it's a perfect opportunity to start backing the officials in regard to this game.
So just to be clear, you don't think the linesman, the match official here in this instance, you don't think he should be punished at all?
No, I don't. I think you should have a word with him about his conduct and say, look, in the game that we're in at this moment in time, we need to be whiter than white as a group of officials, blah, blah, blah. But if we're going to gain some respect from the players and people are going to back us, I'm not sure it's the right thing to do, Jim, to say, right, I'm going to give you a 10-game ban, or I've heard people on the radio on my way in today suggesting that is what the punishment should be for a linesman.
Yeah.
I think it's disgraceful to do that.
One of those was an ex-referee.
Exactly.
Which I didn't think was particularly commendable.
No.
But notwithstanding that, as an official, you've got to be beyond reproach. You can't put yourself in the way of this conversation. Andy Robertson should be asked, why in God's name, why is it creeping back into the game? Why are players beginning to think they can surround referees again? Why are players beginning to think they can question officials? I thought the captain's job was to do that. Why are we seeing this rise of players putting themselves in the way of either putting their hands on an official or getting in their faces, as we've seen with Fernandes and Mitrovic? Don't get into the territory of conflating two issues between what happened with Mitrovic and what happened with this official. But make no mistake, this official needs to be consequenced. Because he can't. I mean, to me, it looked like he raised his arm, get out of the way, sort of thing, and the elbow gets in the way of it in the angle that we see it at. But when you're in a position of authority and you're supposed to exude authority, you have to be beyond reproach. You cannot say that to sanction. That not sanction the linesman or the official would be a shot in the arm for refereeing and a shot in the arm for the value of it. You have to hold people to certain standards. Now, I don't suspect or suggest that anyone should be even beginning to talk about the notion of an 8-game ban, but I do think this man needs to be consequent, because I think he's made a judgment of error.
So to what extent consequence?
I don't know the rule book. I don't know the playbook. I don't know what the PGML gift is in terms of what they can and can't do. There's a gift and a menu of punishments for players that behave in a way on a pitch, right? So that's clear. The FA can make their decision. They can look at their rule book, and the independent commission can then adjudicate on that basis. If there must be an alternate view from the way the officials behave, and we don't know what that list is in terms of punishments that can be meted out. But I do feel, I understand Stuart's argument. I'm as strong as he is. But the officials are the architects of their own downfall with players' respect. You want people to respect you, then you exude authority, you command authority, respect, you demand respect, you're consistent in what you do, and you tolerate no nonsense, and players know where they stand. Too many times officials on the pitch want to abdicate responsibility and take the popular decision rather than the decision that needs to be made.
But Simon, is there a chat? I mean, Robertson's in his face. He's going over to the other the officials, so the three of them walk off last. That's what happens, as we know, in a match. Is it not a case, and Constantine's a big old unit, Andy's a little fella, that Constantine lifts his arm like that, and it looks like he's elbow in the
I understand what
the
looks
chin.
like, which is the beyond reproach bit. There's an old saying in life and business, event plus reaction equals outcome, right? So how you react to something gives you an outcome. He can control his reaction to that, the official. He can decide whether he wants to engage with it. The question also has to be asked is, what business does Andy Robertson... And I liked Roy Keane's reaction. I know he played to the cameras at the end of it, keeping on calling him a baby when they started to analyse it. But at the time, I'm of this camp. All of a sudden, Robertson wasn't picked the other day off the bench. He's the one in front of the cameras telling the world what Liverpool's problems are, in terms of they don't seem to have the ability to be able to win a game when two teams are playing against one another, neither wanting to win. He's a great player. I like him a lot, but you just got a little bit too much of it.
So,
at the
Stuart,
moment.
after what Simon's saying there, and I've listened to every word, do the PGMOL, are they not absolutely... it would be the wrong move not to consequence them. I get what you're saying, but is the pressure not on them that they've got to do something?
Of course, the outside pressure. It's always the outside pressure. Give him a 3-game ban then, and also give Robertson a 3-game ban.
Oh, I think,
and say if anyone comes,
should be consequence as well.
If anyone comes up to the officials at half time, bar the captain of the individual teams, that's what's going to happen. Send that message out.
So if you're going to dish it out to the assistant referee, dish it out to Andy as well.
There will be a case for it.
And what, the punishment's got to be the same?
If you want to back the officials and give them credibility and kudos, and them to take the field and go into stadiums knowing full well that the FA, the referees union, are going to back them and going to be on their side, so they'll come out and make solid decisions. As Simon said, they're too scared to make decisions now because they got no backing behind them. If I was an official, I'd be scared stiff of making...
No, you wouldn't.
Well, I probably wouldn't.
You'd go harder, you'd go home.
I probably would.
You would go harder, you'd go home.
Maybe I would. But the bottom line is, you're too scared to make real key decisions. I think they feel as though they're working on quicksand, and I find that quite sad.
And they're in charge of the game. The officials are in charge of the game. Tell me what you told me earlier about Kalina years ago.
We played in Europe, and I questioned Kalina. I went up to him and questioned the decision, and he looked straight back at me and he screamed in my face, "Shut up!" And you're taken aback, and you thought, okay, I'll shut up. You walk away. I didn't go running off and saying to my manager, the referee screamed at me.
Yeah.
You come on now.
Right.
You respect the referee for it.
So in this instance, Stuart, you're saying, no, you would side with the official. It's about time that support is given to them and no punishment. In an ideal world, no punishment for him. But if he is to be punished, same punishment for him, same punishment for Robertson.
Well, if we're going to clear the game up, because I saw probably about 6 or 7 incidents in the first half in that game against Arsenal-Liverpool, which was a brilliant game. The football, the excitement, everything we want. But I still saw 6 or 7 things where players are going to ground, players feigning injury.
Martinelli.
Right.
Exactly. All of those type of things disgust me a little bit more than a linesman shrugging his arm to a player saying, get out of it.
Sure. Many of you messaging in this Easter Monday morning. Many of you want to call in this, and that's what we want. There's one of them, Stuart, wrong. It's double standards. Cancel Mitrovic ban then. Give us your take on it, because certainly it is one of the many big talking points this morning. That incident with the assistant referee and Andy Robertson. And Stuart's contesting this morning that, sure, in an ideal world, you'd have to consequence them. But if we're going to respect officials, let it go. If not, whatever he gets, the same punishment should be dished out to Andy Robertson. 03717 223344 81089.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.